Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Foxton. I am Gina B, still with no Mama D, and she is going to be so upset when she misses this show because she has a fellow Canadian as our guest tonight. I will read her bio we are talking about charm casting. Now, why I'm starting a little late is because we were already yapping. I met her already yesterday. We feel like we've known each other for years, like we're already best buds, and we are going to be best buds because she is phenomenal. And what she does is just so much fun, and it works. It's another tool to have in your toolbox for paranormal investigating and just readings in general for yourself, for clients. I mean, wow. Wow. So we have Tina. Actually, I don't need my glasses. Tina Hardt. She is an author, diviner, and medium. She communes with the inanimate. She lives in a purple house in Mussleman's Lake in Whitechurch, Stuffville. You'll have to fix that. Ontario, Canada, and together with Roger, her beloved enabler, and this is how she writes the book. It's just amazing. Who finds odd things in strange places. Her seductive collection of charms is easily in excess of 1,000 pieces and should be insured with Lloyds of London. And then she met me.
And it was all over but the crying.
Yup. Oh my God. So, welcome to the show, but again, just welcome into my life in general because
Oh my God.
you're just so phenomenal. I mean, it was when I started reading your book, because I read every book, I just started cracking up because your wit, your sense of humor, the way that and it's just you, it's your personality that you are putting down on the pages. I was laughing out loud a lot during this book, but doing a lot of and to the point where I could not wait to do this myself. So,
Yep.
I know, right? Again, all over but the crying.
Gina, that's so amazing. Like and it does my heart a world of good to know that when you cracked the spine that you had a couple of laughs as well while you were learning this. And I just want to like shout out to Mama B or Mama D, and I'm so sorry that we couldn't meet her. I couldn't meet her tonight because I've heard such great things about her. But anyway, I'm so happy to be here.
And I'm grateful to have you. I mean, we talked for hours and hours and hours yesterday. I mean, I don't even know all afternoon, But how that happened, that was funny. It was because I could not wait to get into what you were doing because you these charms, these baubles. Actually, I should read the blurb here so people will really understand because I know I'm jumping way ahead, people. But what we're doing is we're taking charms and baubles and things and whatnots around your house. You got little things that you find and you want to pull apart. This is your gal. All right. We have like grids here. I mean, divination goes way back, way back, way back. Okay. And I've taught a lot of all different types of divination. I've done throw the rope on the ground and throwing sticks and rocks and what lands where and all that kind of stuff. Reading that, I never did the bones, but that's a one thing. But I've done so many different things: candle magic, floating paper on water. I mean, scrying, you name it. I've done it, except for this. And this, I can't believe I didn't find this before or know about this before, because I have 900 million charms in my house.
Yeah, that was, and I'm gonna explain what happened yesterday and what sparked the
Yes, please
conversation, right?
do.
But I just want to go back to the fact that you've just created oracles and you've divined out of everything, right? So I used to when I was younger, and going through all the relationships and like they're all filled with such drama and theatricality, and there used to be this Romanian card reader, and my aunt ended up actually reading in her room, but it was Anita's tea room in Toronto. And I used to like run to her, with my heart beating in my chest. And I could not wait to sit down and wait for her. And I'd sit in this little antechamber waiting for her to be available, right? And
Yep.
she's this amazing Romanian woman. And she would say, she would take these mechanical drags off this cigarette. Darling, she'd say, in
I would
in
love it.
in Romania, she said that that reading the cards, right, in divination, she says, was forbidden. So she said, of course, she said, we all knew how to do it, right? And then she used to tell me that they used to read the ashes. They used to scry ashes on
Yep.
the cigarettes and all kinds of things, right? But she was incredible. So, but anyway, yesterday I woke up, I got the coffee, and tended to my bosses, the two kitties. and
Yep.
then I went to my phone and I saw all these photographs, and then you sent me a video, and you open up this drawer, and there are all these charms, and I swear my heart was just like beating out of my chest, and I couldn't
No, it
breathe.
would.
I couldn't breathe, and I didn't know you, and I thought, no, I need to speak to her, I need to speak to her now. Right? And that fight or flight response,
Yeah.
it was like I was calling my travel agent. I was going to go straight to that drawer. That was incredible.
Yep.
So you have to explain why you have that drawer full of.
Because I make custom easy scan ghost boxes for Vortex
It's
Ghost.
crazy,
And
crazy great.
like, yeah, I mean, I put all these different types of charms and stuff on there. So I have all kinds of charms. I have keys and I have gears and I have, little
Yeah.
everything. I have everything. I have hearts and I have butterflies and all these different really cool flowers and big butterflies. I even have a unicorn and I have things, like I have Halloweeny type things. So spiders on webs and regular keys, but this one says dreams. So I picked this one out. So why I picked, and I have, okay, so I have all whole time. I have a box. I have all the charms that I'm going to be. Oh, I just dropped one. Who was it? Oh, the new heart. Oh, and I just told you about that heart, and that was half that heart. All right, what I did. This is funny, people. Okay, I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm very excited to be with her, and I feel like I don't have enough time because really 2 hours won't be enough time. But I found this charm and I thought it was a locket because it actually looked like a locket. So I pried it apart and I broke it and I said, you know what? She's going to love this too. Why? Why did you love this?
Well, first of all, you've already infused it with energy, right? You've infused it because you broke it apart. So now that piece could mean like it's two halves of a whole. It could, if you're doing a reading for a relationship, it could be an ex, right? So, I wouldn't necessarily go with a broken heart, but there's part of the heart missing. So now already you've got something fabulous to work with, you know?
Yeah, it's just so crazy because
Yeah.
I started out. I'm like, all right, well, this, and I started out doing it like,
Now
um,
your kit's chunky,
very
you
chunky,
know?
very
It's
chunky. Yeah,
chunky, but
I
that's
have a big,
fabulous.
I
Yeah,
have a
that's
big,
crazy, that piece.
my castle is my house. Big heart. You know,
Mhm.
but what's funny is now I picked this hat to be my dad, and I picked an angel to be my mom. They're both on the other side now, but I can't find the angel in here. She's in here. She's hiding. She's in here. But why I picked her, I found some angel wings, right? But anyway, so I picked the hat and her, okay, as angel. And what's funny is even on here. So this is them, and there's the angel wings, right? And this was my dad's shrine that I made. So see the hat,
Oh,
so
wow.
this hat. So that's why I picked the hat, and
Oh,
that's why I
wow.
picked angel wings for them. And how they came up on my casting
That
was
was incredible.
this. So then what happened was too, now I threw down, and I have this big because I have the pewter stuff. I just have stuff everywhere. And I'm like, well, you know, I didn't know whether to, because I liked the sword of the sword in the stone, but the sword is in the stone. And when I did it, I just kind of dropped it, and it, the way that it dropped, it stayed in the stone. But I'm going, well, maybe I should take it out, and place it next to it. And I did end up on one of these pictures here. I did end up doing it.
You did do
Yeah,
it. There
yeah,
it
right
is.
there.
Right.
So I did, and then you said, well, you showed me this picture of it in there, and why did you take it out? I'm like, well, I thought maybe because the sword would be significant, and and then relative to what we were talking about, what this whole thing means here, it was she just said to me about the power of the sword in the stone, and who was the only one that could retrieve the sword from the stone, and maybe that's why I took it out. So it was just like I was going, wow, 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 wow.
So now, Gina, like I just want to say too that you understand, like this is the first time, I
Yeah,
mean, that you've ever done casting. I mean, the thing is though, you're a dyed in the wool, sorry, diviner. So you've got lots of experience with that and psychism and mediumship, right? So you are experienced in other maybe divinatory systems and whatever, but you took to this so naturally, so organically. And I'm telling you, that is one of the beautiful things about charm casting, is that you don't need to sit in a lot of foundational studies. I mean a little bit of just like, mild stick handling, right, helps, but it is intuitive because it
right.
comes through the filter of your life experience, and you're the one that's going to be assigning meanings to these pieces. They've got meaning to you, so you're going to understand how they're speaking to you directly. But the reading and how you were attuned to these pieces automatically, because when you picked them out, you already had an idea of what you thought they meant, and
Right.
the way that they landed, it was like a very clear narrative, and all of them
Yeah.
validating charms. Like, I mean, with what your context was, your context being, of course, the question that you ask, and the framework for the reading, but
Oh, it
all
blew
the
my
charms
blew my
that
mind when
landed.
you were going through that. It totally blew my mind. You were amazing,
Well,
you know,
no, no, you were amazing.
excited for all of this, and oh yeah, if I wasn't hooked before, I was hooked more after that.
Now, usually what happens is anybody, and I know, like from your office and stuff, that you've got this incredible aesthetic and this eye for things. Like you've got this inner corvid, and that's the whole thing about charm casters, is that you are so attracted to these little pieces. It's like, one man's, what do they say? One man's,
No,
trash is
no
another people's
treasure.
treasure.
I
These
know.
are all
And
treasure.
everywhere I look in my house, there was
That's right.
something. There's like a whole bowl full of them here. They're up here. They're over here. They're everywhere. I
That's
showed you around.
right.
My
I've
whole drawer full of charms is right there. You know.
I'm gonna tell you one. I gotta show you one thing. This is terrible, but these are the tools that every charm caster needs to invest in. Right? These little
Yes.
miniature
Oh,
jewelry charms,
I have every
because
tool known to man.
you start thinking, you're somewhere, and there are little, like, those ceiling fan pulls at the end of things, and you're just, or you're in a thrift store, and there's like I said in the book or whatever, there's all this costume but ugly costume jewelry, right? These things will
Yep.
just make your life so much better,
Oh
because
yeah.
you
Well, I'm a
know
tool belt diva, so I mean, if I don't have a hand tool to do it, I got a power tool that will.
yeah, exactly. This is as far as I go, and your history with sawzalls and, like, I mean, serious tools.
Yes, very serious tools.
These are like little purse tools, because you never know where you're going to go when something needs to be extricated from a chain or
Of course, you never leave home without it. But now I'm going to, they're all in there. But you say to, like, have a little box, to put your charms in,
yes.
keep your charms. You can have definite multiple kits. So you can have a paranormal kit, you can have a love kit, a career kit, or whatever kind of kit that you want to make for yourself, or keep them all in one. You know.
Exactly. So what you've got you're starting to build, and you've got a base kit of charms. And
Yeah.
all I would add to that, right, is just that if you're going to move them, if you're going to transport them, it's always not a bad idea sometimes to put them in a bag, like your Crown Royal bag. Put it
Yeah.
in a bag in a box, right? Because if it gets knocked over, or or if you're transporting it from A to Z, like, trust me,
Oh God,
if the
no.
lid pops, that's
Ugh. Yep,
calamitous.
yep,
And I've
yep.
been there before.
But I love this little box that I found too to
Yeah,
put,
that's stunning.
you
Can you tell me about that box? What
this
is
is about, because we started collecting, because we make out the boxes that I make for the paranormal are cigar boxes, right? So they're wooden
Oh,
boxes with
fabulous.
drill in the side, and then I decorate the top, the front, the side, the back, the other side
That's a
with,
cigar box.
and it's a cigar box, you know. But when we first started making them, I was doing different types of cigar boxes. So we were getting all kinds of boxes. Plus, I've always loved boxes. I have so many boxes
I
in this
know.
house. Like, I mean, that I put everything in under the sun. You know, if it's a box, I love it. I want it. I gotta have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I bought.
This little box right here. Right?
I love it.
This, I have
Yeah,
my returns from my wedding. I'm putting in this box right here.
it's amazing.
You know?
I love. I bought tea boxes. Here's an example. I bought this one,
Oh,
right?
cool.
Because it's sort of vintage. That's one
Yeah, very.
of my jerks at work, Oracle. But I buy these boxes, and the tea is just like deplorable, and it goes right. It's just, I don't want, the tea's awful. I don't
I've
want it.
done that. I've done that. I bought like tins of candy in it, and I just tossed the
That's
candy
right.
to keep
Right.
the bin, because
And
I
possibly
do a lot of those.
I'll give it to
Yeah.
somebody, but still, that's the idea. I have no
Exactly.
interest in the contents whatsoever. I know it's mental, but then that's, I don't know. That cigar box is amazing. Does it have one of those little metal hooks on the front?
This one does not. This one, this is a plastic one, and it kind of clicks
That's
down,
awesome.
to make it secure a little bit. But I mean, because I have such heavy, bulky things, that if this fell over, the weight of those things would
Yeah.
open the lid. You know,
If you open the lid, right, does it lay flat? Is there something you could put under it and put a cloth on the top, and then do a little bit of casting on the top of that lid?
oh
Would
no,
it
no,
work that way? No.
no,
Okay.
that's it.
It doesn't flip
Yeah,
over. Okay, that's fine. That's good.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. But
That's awesome.
it fits in my thing here. And
Yeah,
then what I did here is, this is
that's
actually
crazy.
a shadow frame. I took apart. I have a picture on my wall that my daughter had painted for me, and it was a shadow frame that you could open and put things in here. But I didn't want it sticking away from the wall, so I took this off. I always wanted to use this for something. And what I was showing her was, I had this paper inside, and I was going to use it to put pictures on. So it's a little padded in here, a little bit, you know. And then I have, well, my paper here is from, scrapbooking paper.
Wow.
Just fits in here perfect. And then this is one of my charms. I'm like, well, this is perfect for the
That's
center, because
crazy. That's
table.
really
I know, right? It was just so perfect, but it didn't. I didn't want to label what these were, because I can
mm-hmm.
use different things, you know. But when I first imagined it, and I used the 12, as like the north, so like the thing above right here,
Mm-hmm.
what you put in your book, okay, the rose with the 12 points, okay. So my 12 is north,
Yeah.
so and then I did quadrants. So,
Yeah.
and I used the elements. So I was using earth, wind,
So
fire,
show everybody using that where your quadrants are.
right? So this one I did, well, this was air, and this was water,
Earth
earth,
and
and
fire.
fire. And then,
And then
so
spirit in the
yeah,
middle.
yep, yeah,
Yeah.
and then everything close. And what's funny is, I used a little teeny pewter fox.
Yeah.
That was me. And then I had my little beaded
Your beautiful pearls. You had a little
pearls around there.
circular.
Yep. So my
Right.
my fox landed inside of there, but it was a little off. So I just kind of stood him up in there. So again, I'll go back to my little picture here. So in there, in the middle, there is my little fox, and that represented me. And the ghosty was just a little bit on the edge of the thing. So I just took my pointer and I just kind of pushed him into the middle, myself, so I could see him better because he was kind of disappearing on the thing. So I just wanted to be able to see him. And pretty much everything else landed that way. Now, and I have to be honest, the how I did that was the first time. I'm going to stand up to do this. All right. I'm just going to pick a few of these little guys here. Uh-oh, drop something. Anyway, so what I did was the first time I just took my tray and I just dropped, and everything that was so chunky just went into like this big pile. And I said, no, I got to do something different. It doesn't feel right. So I found I have this Lazy Susan, which is what I make my boxes on. So I spun it, and then I closed my eyes and I dropped.
Oh, wow.
And that's how they all landed.
Yeah, right.
So now that I just did this, the sword is right in the center.
Right.
My little shell is down in my fire section. I have a number 1 on my dice. I use my key ring. Right. My broken heart is up in the corner with, I added a gear. So broken heart and work together. My little starfish and my mom, little chain thing that represents my mom, are right together on top of each other. This is my mom, who is up in the air, actually. And this is her angel. So she's up in the air with the fleur-de-lis. So, but that sword is right dead center. And
now,
that power now.
I'm just going to add to this for a second, right? So the whole thing about when you're starting with charm casting, right, is that the toss and the dispersion of the charms, that will become a technique, right? Because you don't want everything to come in a big old mass and clump, because that's like really hard to read, right? So that's the first thing, that it takes a couple of times before you develop a technique. And also you want to have a tossing technique or a sprinkling technique, or a flick and swirl technique, whatever it is. That's going to be it's going to be gentle on the charms, right? If you've got anything that could get T-boned or whatever, right? But it looks like your charms, except for the shells, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the shells could be, yeah.
But that swirling it, that's like fantastic. On the Lazy Susan is fantastic. Yeah. But so of course,
you can't manipulate where it's going to go, because a lot of people say, like when I was showing you that hands-free Ouija board that we make,
that's right.
A lot of people are saying, you're pushing the planchette, which is the planchette. It's like, the spirit's doing that, because the spirit is the only one that can touch that board. You're not touching it. So the same theory I'm thinking in my head for this, like, all right, this thing's spinning, my eyes are closed, I'm sprinkling.
No, that's absolutely fantastic, right? That is amazing. But also, when you go into something, you're going to have to focus on what you're looking for. You have to ask, you know what I mean? Focus on a question.
And I had my intent. Everything that I do for, just like even when we're reading cards, and we're going to get into the cards that you've made too, which I will show shortly. And then I'm going to have you back on because I'm getting one of the decks. Anyway, but intention is everything. So when you're reading anybody, your intention is, if it's for yourself, it's what your question is. If it's for someone else, please let me find the answer for this person. Please let me find the answer for that question that they're asking. Please, allow her energy to go through my hands into this deck or into this charm or into this whatever. So your intention is everything pertinent in any kind of energy work.
And you can also recharge some of the charms, right? With a kit like that. So in other words, if you're asking something and you're curious about something, and let's say it's a move or it's a real estate deal, let's just say it's something as simple as that, you can also say, okay, so just so you know, I'll be looking for that tower in this spot. So show me what I need to see and read around the tower. Or, whether you sort of charge pieces, you can pre-charge pieces and then ask them to show up. And, that's also a technique, right? If you've got
Yep.
a smaller kit, right? So, but
Yeah.
no, this is, but I love that lazy Susan approach. That's so, so right. That's
It's whatever
great.
works. It's whatever works for
That's
you.
right.
So not everybody has a lazy Susan. I just happen to have one because I'm painting and I spin my box as I'm
Yeah.
painting, and stuff. So, that's why I have it. But I'm like, that's what I need. That's perfect. So that's what I use. But
Mm.
that works for me. But I was looking up all kinds of things because the casting mats, there's some that you can buy, and you said, some of them are very cluttered, like too many words on there and stuff like that. So that's why I was like, okay, I took that to heart. I'm like, I don't want to put any words on mine.
Again, I guess that's a preference, right? So I have to be a little careful here too, because I don't want to come out and say, there's some really, really talented graphic designers that are putting these amazing illustrated casting mats out there.
And
And
that's good for them. Good.
absolutely, really,
Yep.
but when you start getting into, at least I'm just going to speak personally, it just helped me to go to a plain surface, because when you start factoring in things like the directionality of the charms, and you start factoring in what I call charm speak, and that's how they start communicating to each other, whether they're close together or communicating from afar or off. I just don't want my bandwidth being directed to understanding sort of graphic design elements. For
Yeah.
me, that wasn't working. And that's the same thing as teacup readers. Some teacup readers will swear by, I don't want to have symbols in the bottom of my teacup, and others like it.
Yep.
So but what I would teach is starting, because you can always adapt, and you can do both. Fox cup.
More fun
But
than
if
anybody.
when it's plain like that, and then it's plain, and there's just a whole lot more uh that will grab your attention
Yeah.
and not distract you. I personally think that it can become really noisy.
Yep.
Then what happens is that you don't get you get little fragments of meaning, as
Yeah,
opposed
because you're pulling their energy, what they kind of
to.
intended for that spot. However, it's the same thing with cards. When you put down cards, however array, if you do a standardized format or whatever, if you want to do that, great. If you don't, good, even better. If you want to use more than one deck, fantastic, because you're making a picture, you're making a story. They are going to speak to you, and
That's
so
right.
does this. And
Right.
this speaks loud and clear. And you find baubles everywhere. I'm wearing them. Okay. They're everywhere. I mean, I was sitting in my bathroom and I'm going,
Oh no.
what happened here?
No. You're already charm obsessed. You're
I
smitten.
am.
I'm telling you, now you're going to be looking for things in the dirt, and now people are going to start, like, they're the things. And this is one thing I wrote in the book, but it's absolutely true. There are things that people, like friends, would typically either walk over or pick up and throw in the garbage. And
I
now
know. I
they're
want
like,
that.
can you use that?
I know it's broken, but I want it. Like this.
Yes.
This is a broken ring. And this is going to go in
Oh,
there too. But
what?
I'm going to
That's
put it.
fab.
I'm going to put it in here first. And I was just like, look at all these things. I mean, I have just so many cool little things, and and then I have so many different. This is just a little square tiger eye, but
That's
I get
beautiful.
nervous about putting stone in there because it could break. But I have all my crystals
So
here.
Gina, that broken ring, bring that broken ring back up for a second. All right, just show that for a second.
Yeah, it had
Okay.
a fox on it, and then the fox fell off.
It had a fox on the top and it fell off. Okay. So, what do we know about rings?
Well, they can mean a lot of things.
Hmm.
So they can mean connection. They can mean um, engagements. They can mean promises. They can, a circle is endless,
Hmm.
like
They can
forever.
commitments,
Yeah.
right? Proposals.
Yep.
So now it's lost something. That particular piece has lost. What is it lost? Like what would the difference be in that ring now versus the way that it used to look?
Well, with the fox, I absolutely loved to wear it because, and I would wear it on my pinky,
Hmm.
as it fit perfectly there. And I always needed a pinky ring, and it's a fox, so I would wear it at all my, events and whatnot with the fox. So now that the fox is gone, I'm like, well, there goes the parafox part of it. But did I throw this away? And that fell off a long time ago. Did I throw this away? No, because it still has value.
So there you go. See, when you actually take something and you work through it, right? You didn't throw it away, and it's something that still has value. So that is probably an amazing meaning for that piece when it shows up. It's not perfect,
But it
but
has value.
it's exactly, there's still something to work with there. It still has value. It's still right. So now that piece has already got, because it's gone through this journey, right? It lost its bling, but that doesn't matter. It's still not something you would toss by the wayside, right? So you're doing a relationship reading, and somebody says, well, do you know what I mean, I'm not quite sure if I want to leave this man, or I want to, do you know, I'm not quite sure where my relationship's at. And then that shows up. Well, do you know what I mean, it's lost a little bit of its shine, it's lost a little bit of its
Yeah,
whatever allure.
your honeymoon phase is over,
That's
but they're
correct.
real people, and no one's perfect, and
Correct.
no relationship is perfect.
Right.
No
But
one-
it's still got the most important aspect of it. It's still the most important thing is
Still,
it still fits on your finger,
it's still
right?
it's still whole,
That's
and
correct.
yeah, yeah. See,
Yeah.
I love you. I just
I
love
love you. Yeah, it's just that's an amazing piece because that's an amazing piece because, like I'm saying, it's already absorbed all this grade A energy because it's gone through a journey. And so that those are sometimes the most amazing pieces, right?
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, how did you start with all of this? And are you an only child? Is it in your family? Is it in your blood? What is going on? I know that you would go see, I'm going
Oh
to call
yeah.
her Natasha.
That's right. Darling, I remember running to her once, and I don't know, I was seeing somebody at the time, and I don't know. I said to her, well, I feel terrible about something I did. It was nothing horrible, but something I did. And I said, I feel terrible about this. And I said, like, I'm going to tell him this. I'm going to tell him. Right. Right. And she sat back the way she always does, darling. She says, he's your lover, not your priest. Right. It was like, she's amazing. Amazing, you know? Yeah.
Oh, fabulous.
Incredible. Anyway, this meaning my love of this world and everything, right?
Divination and yeah, all of it.
Um, ran in my mom's side of the family, my grandmother and my aunt, and I was babysat in this house in High Park in Toronto. It was uh yeah, it had orbs and chairs that would rock by themselves, and very, very haunted place, right? And I have two cousins older than me. One lives in Florida now, and the other one is in Toronto still, but they're both extremely psychic. One's an astrologer, and she wants nothing to do with this, but my other cousin and I share. So that's how I was raised by it, raised with it, and just loved every second of it. So, um,
That's a,
and yeah, as for so cards, they would read playing cards. And my grandmother, I have great memories of her in her in one of the rooms, very, very cold rooms of this house. And she would have all of her ladies come in and she'd be slinging cards, they'd be drinking tea and she'd be slinging cards for them, you know, all of these older women talking about their love lives, right?
Oh my God, I love it. Oh my God,
Like,
that's so.
no.
You made these 3 decks here, and with someone else, with what's her name?
Carrie Paris.
Carrie. Yes. So the Beloved Dead deck, I'm actually getting. Once I get it, I'm booking you to come back, and we're going to talk about it. That I'm like, at any reason to get you back on the show, I will do it. But I'll have that deck then, and have you come back on. So we'll actually book a date at the end of this because I'll have it by then. And the Siren Song and the
Kipper. The Siren Song and the Kipper, the Kipper and the Lenormand, those are like tarot, right? It's an oracle, but it would be considered they're a traditional oracle. Now, Tony Savory is the head of the World Divination Association. And Tony is a legend, as is Carrie. They're both legends. They're legends in their field, right? So Carrie was my mentor with casting, and Carrie was the one that brought this populist version of charm casting into our worlds via the Reader Studio in New York, and created this craze, right? And Carrie there's nothing she can't do, right? And Tony is like a living legend too. I can't speak highly enough about both of their respective abilities. So so the way that we were introduced to charm casting was Carrie is also a extremely gifted graphic artist. I mean, her work, that's the whole other thing too about casting mats, is Carrie's work is amazing. And if I could have her on call 24/7, like, could you design me this or design me that? Because I have no graphic skills whatsoever. So to me, what I was trying to do was, and then that's where it ended up, is that I just went to a plain casting surface. One of my lights just went out. I went to a plain casting surface and then just created my own, more flexible, casting surface where I would bead in all the respective houses and numbered paths and et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, so we started off with little kits that were, small, and Carrie put them out. They were so beautiful and they were full of jewelry findings and everything, right down to the sound, when you swirled your fingers in them. And, she mentored a lot of us in this art. And I just, the minute that I got like a charm kit that was like this, I would pull it apart and I'd add to it immediately. Gina was just exactly like you. Some people still have their charm kits intact that she created. Oh my God, no, I would tear them apart.
Yeah. They would. We're kindred spirits. I'm telling you, you and I, we're like, we're sisters from another mister. That's just it. We think the same. We would do the same. If you were in the States or if I was in Canada, everyone would be in trouble. And we're fighting over charms in all the stores. I saw it first.
You know what, though? I swear I've got, some of my American friends too. I've seen they have charm hauls and they'll go to like a yard sale or a bazaar and then somebody has just put a whole bag full of charms together I'm like, oh my gosh.
People have been already, like, we have this neighborhood yard sale thing twice a year. Usually we're not home when that happens, so I lend everyone my tables.
Now guess what? You're going to be staying home for that, I bet.
Well, they always save me all their little bags of jewelry or say, hey, I've got this stuff if you want to look at it first, because I use it on the boxes. Because I'll put backgrounds, because I am a graphic artist and stuff. So right. I'll put backgrounds on and then I'll put charms on top of that, whatever goes. Like this way I have like that clock face, so I'll do a reaper that has a clock around it, and then I'll put clock charms or hands, things
Incredible.
things that go with it. So every time I go shopping for charms or I go to an antique store, I'm always in the charm department. That's where I got this beautiful little guy. It's a rose quartz, hearts that I love, and it's just, and I found it in an antique place, and so I'm always looking at these, charms and things in yard sales and shops and
I
online,
think that's half
and
the fun. That's half the therapy. It's the scavenger hunt.
yeah,
It's like the whole thing about this divinatory system is that there's so many ways that it's an adventure. It's like falling down a rabbit hole. And once you develop that
the
eye,
rabbits too. I've even got all the Alice in Wonderland charms. We can
oh
go down
no,
the rabbit hole.
that's that's right. It's right. I mean, there's so many hours too that you can spend, and you can spend some like quality time just, you know, just
Absolutely.
yeah.
Shopping and finding, and yeah, it's definitely, it's now going to be when I'm going out and looking at all these little things, because I've been showing you all these. I've got so many little things just on pencils. Okay.
Gina, do some show and tell with your kit that you put together for everyone. Do a little bit of show and tell.
I want to see one of your kits.
Oh,
but
I've got.
what I, but what I got in here is I got a butterfly.
Is this too dark now, or is that okay?
Well, you're fine right there, and everything that you put in front of you is fine. And then I added this little money bling thing here.
That's right.
This was at the an additive. Like I showed you before, this is from my dad. This pewter castle is home, or it could be the tower.
Mhm.
Oh, it still hurts.
You've got your first charm injury.
I know, son of a. And I put this. This is a Gettysburg pin, and so
What?
it's a gun and a cap and a tombstone. So I put that in there.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So many cool things. And then this spider on the web, I picked this to represent fear for me,
Let's talk about that spider for a second. Pick that back up again. Okay. Pick
because
it
I
up.
don't like spiders.
Okay. Now, the spider is one component of that piece,
Right? The web
right?
is gorgeous. I love
Yeah,
webs.
the web is gorgeous, but let's think of some different applications because every single one of your charms, depending on how they land,
Mhm.
and the combinations will bring out different facets of a charm. So, if we're going to just talk about that as a simple charm, right? It can mean a couple of things. One, um, you would probably ask yourself, do you feel more like the spider or the web? In other words, do you feel more like you're the architect of that web, or do you feel like you're caught in somebody else's architecture? So there are two ways of kind of positioning that. And the other thing about the web too is that if you're going to use that as a piece, it's also a great piece for technology, right? Because it's something that's extending, and you know what I mean, it's building out. So sometimes I'll use that as networking, and marketing and blowing things out, right? There was one casting that I did where that came up. If you're doing a casting, sometimes you don't need to always have a second significator. It will show up in a piece. By second significator, I mean that you have your self piece and a piece, or two or three that mean other people, but they don't necessarily need to be people. So
Right.
this showed up in the context of somebody was asking about a contractor and whether or not they could trust the contractor. And I wish I could show you this casting, but it was incredible because the spider web showed up, right? And it was the contractor. And it was just that the person asking had to really watch what he was doing, had to pay attention. She couldn't take her eyes off of him because the button fell right on top. The button kind of fell right on top of the web at the top, meaning that she really had to nail down and pay attention Do you know what I mean? To
Hmm.
everything that he was up to, the minutia of it. So that just came out as one little nuance. So that one charm that you've got, um, you could have a piece in your kit that represents fear, like just something, something sharp or something jagged
Right.
or right?
Yeah. 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 Because
Anyway,
I have that sword. I have the axe. I have a gun. I mean, I have all these things.
you've got an arsenal.
I do. Don't mess with the box. Swallow.
Yeah. Whoa. That spider got nothing on the rest of
Yeah,
the
you're
rest of
damn straight.
the
But then I have a button too. This is a button that's one side is, I mean, of course, because they're always 10-10, but it has a peony on there, peony, peony.
peony.
So yeah, one side's plain, one side's the peony. And I picked it because it kind of reminds me of the flowers I'm using for the wedding. And it's the button,
That's right.
so I had a button. Um, the shell, the little shell.
Mhm.
Okay, now this reminded me of my late husband and the beach and easy times and all that kind of stuff. And you made this make more sense too, because in my casting and the one that I did, it landed up. So you said it was like a cup and the cup is full. And, if it was down, it could be a cup that was spilled, something that was in it was spilled out, So
It's
depending
just
on how
how
things
it came and fell with the other pieces, right?
in the water.
Because sometimes that exactly it changes,
Yep.
And that's also when it's open like that, Gina, is more receptive, right?
Right.
When
Yeah.
it's this way, it's closed, and when it's open, it's more receptive.
All right.
So, or holding, yeah, that's a ghost, the ghosty.
Ghost, because I'm a ghost hunter, and a lot
Tell
of other
people,
things.
tell everyone about the ghost, if the ghost charm, your
Well,
meaning for the
yeah,
ghost.
I have two ghost charms in here because I put this in to represent what I do in the field,
Hmm.
and where this came up was right in the dead center of my casting. I mean, the very center.
Hmm.
It was on the thing just a little, and I just pushed it in the rest of the way. So it landed on this edge just a teeny bit. So I just pushed it in the middle. But
I'll address that in a second.
okay, so this
Yeah.
is, but that's what I do in this field is I communicate with ghosts. I am like a counselor between people
Hmm.
and their ghost and make them either peacefully coexist or one or the other has to go.
Pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So see what I mean? You every single casting charm, there's no such thing as right or wrong. Every single casting charm is going to be assigned meanings that go through a filter of one's own life experiences. So the way that you would see a ghost, a charm might be completely different from the way somebody else might pick that up, but it's whatever kind of hits you at the moment that makes perfect sense in whatever context. But I love what you just said about the fact that, you know, for you, you're saying that that charm is taken on this quality of mediation, you know, and for somebody else, they might say, well, uh, this is where I feel invisible, or this is where I would have unfinished business, or this is where something's haunting me, right?
Right.
Or this is something in the closet, like so they're all of those things are there built into that one little piece, and depending on where and how it lands. So now
Exactly. And
the
what
next time you do a
say,
casting,
right.
because you've got that elaborate, beautiful piece in the middle, pay attention to where that ghost has landed. If it didn't fall dead center, I mean, it's really good to move it in the center because you felt like doing that intuitively. You felt like pushing it in the center. But if it fell in a specific area,
Yeah.
then that area is
And he
charged.
kind of points too. He's got a
Yes,
little
that's
point
crazy.
up a little. So that
Yeah,
that
that's
gives
right. It's
you
like the John Travolta,
yeah, yeah,
right? It's a John Travolta.
yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yep. Isn't it great? I just
Yeah.
I just I love doing this. And then when I was showing you my drawer of charms, and I said, oh, and I have even a unicorn, and you said, oh, that would be good. So I pulled this out and I put it in, and this could be magic and mystic and mystical and everything that's, um, on the other side. I mean, it could be so many things. Again, whatever it lands with out of my array of stuff, which is going to be ever ending growing.
Love it.
And then this is a
I
nice
love
little
it. Oh my
bottle. I
gosh.
think I
Oh,
think I think this is like an ancient Avon thing, because my mom used to buy Avon all the time. But my mom, I have two of these, and I put one in here, and I have one in my bedroom.
is that breakable? Is it
It's
glass?
no, it's not glass. It's like a metal-ish, but I think it's
Okay.
a perfume in it. I don't dare open it because I don't want to smell my house up if it is. But you
But
know,
are there gems that could chip off that? Right? Is
yeah,
there
there's little
anything?
gems on there.
Oh, it's just beautiful. Oh my
It's
gosh.
so cute.
Oh,
It's just so cool, and it just reminds me of comfort, of mom, of like a hug, about like love and just all that hominess feeling. So warmth and you know just family and you know
Gina, can you put up the shot of your casting just for a second?
yeah.
Just for a second, and the reason being is because I want to show I just want to show
Yeah.
everybody one thing that was really interesting. There's a lot to this piece, and there's a lot to it, but that piece in particular, based on the question, and it's a little bit of a personal question, so we don't need to get into it 100% unless we've got Gina's blessing. But I just want to point out that the spiral shell that you have there.
Yeah,
What did you say that signified again?
that was my
Your
late
ex,
husband,
right?
right?
Your
And
beautiful late husband.
yeah.
Exactly.
So and so that and the shell. So these
Right.
where is I gotta go this way. These two shells
Mm,
were like for my late husband. Now in this casting where that starfish is and the
mhm.
heart, and the shell and the skull. So the shell is next to the skull. So that's in the water section.
That was another exactly, and that was another part of the casting. But
Yeah.
this had very specifically to do with the fire, so the will and the direction and the action. So and the way that you had phrased it at some point was just that you wanted to see where those two pieces showed up. You know what I mean? Because you were interested, because that represented a very happy time and a very carefree, easy time.
Yep.
And just without a little bit of the setup and the concern, I asked Gina. I asked Gina because it's pointing, right? The directionality of that is, and Gina did mention, it was pointing, and I asked her about that piece, and I just asked her really quickly, well, Gina, how does that piece make you like? How does that piece make you feel? you know and you'd said, well, that just makes me feel this, it makes me feel happy. And then I kept repeating to her, it makes her feel happy, it makes her feel happy. That's exactly what that was pointing to, and that was the whole point of it. And
Right.
that's too, where that's how charms start speaking. It was basically you know
Yeah.
reminding her that all of that was possible. All of that's possible.
All of this whole thing, because you said about my permission about this whole thing is, and it's not a mystery. I've said this before. I am afraid of marriage. I am getting married, again. And it goes way back where I got axed, which is why I have an axe in there. Um, to where my dad owned a castle, which is why I'm always drawn to castles, which is castle represents my house here, my home, you know, my security. So that's my castle. That's me, my castle, all that kind of stuff. That acts is my, fear of losing my castle. And, because in that past life, I was right after a wedding, I was axed in the face. And I saw all this in a past life
Division.
thing. And yeah, and I saw the blood on my white sleeve and everything, and I got thrown off a cliff. I've talked about this on here on this show before. I used to have pictures on here because I drew pictures of this after I get done. I don't have it on here anymore. But so, this was all about my upcoming wedding. And it's like, okay, everything is like everyone, my mom, my dad is like, be cautious. He's up in the, thing, but that's my dad. He's always like that, my mom and Mark and everyone, it just, everything else in here is pushing it to like, everything's going to be fine,
Yeah.
things that are, in my head.
And that Belle and
In my
Bob
head.
is the wolf, right? And they're flanking, they're flanking that little,
Yep.
you know, and
Yep.
I mean, it's a vial, it's a perfume bottle, but really when you're assigning a meaning to a charm, it was very important because that's a significant piece. That is her joy, that is her happiness. That was
Yep.
something that carried all that vibration of her mother, right?
Yep.
Carried all those memories, those moments. And that the interesting thing too is, even though the dream came up as a context, right? The dream came up as a context. It was really clear taking a look, that tower piece, and the hat too, even though that's your dad's piece, right? But the
Yep.
hat too represents a male energy.
Yep.
And the tower, shows some sort of a collapse. And we know too about even if we're going to take some of the meanings of the tower and tarot, where it's because a foundation wasn't right. There's something wrong with the foundation of a relationship. And so inevitably, it's
Mhm.
unexpected and it's not anything we want, but we get to tear it all down and rebuild that foundation. And there's the axe, but the legitimate fear, dream state, but also of marriage, and that experience of having another male in your life, collapse the tower for you, which is also your fortress and your security and your
Yep.
your protection.
But all of that's in the air, which is in my
Yeah, in your head, exactly. And then the owl, leaving
my
you with
owl is
this
upside down and
upside down and blinded, like
yeah,
broadsided.
and
Absolutely, you've
upside
been
down.
broadsided by this before. And
Yeah,
so that's why, that's
yeah.
why,
This is the owl.
yeah.
So he's
And those
upside
big
down
eyes,
and yeah.
the
So the
big
owl
eyes.
has a lot of meaning in itself,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah. So I mean, I just cannot believe that these little trinkets,
I know.
box, and things tell such a tale, you know.
Yeah.
And it gave me all the answers that I needed.
Mhm.
It put to bed all the things, that were in my head and what's the reality. And the reality is everything's going to be just fine. And
Everything.
everybody's happy. Everyone's happy on that side. Everyone's happy on this side. Everything's pushing in the right direction. Even the gun is like, and some people see a gun and they say, oh my God, that could be like, shooting someone, ending something, killing something. But no, it's like, you're like, look at it a different way, and what does a gun do? What do you do with a gun? And I'm
Well,
like,
it's the whole
trigger.
key. The
Yeah,
whole thing about your context in the reading, right, is that you're pulling the trigger. I mean, marriage is pulling a trigger on something. It's just doing it, right? And that's where your hesitancy was showing up, and that's where your reticence, and then now that's where your, do you know what I mean? Some of the past traumas, whether they're past life traumas or,
this life
current
dramas. Yes.
trauma. Yeah, exactly. Current traumas with exes. And then you've got this beautiful, beautiful way that your was his name, sorry, Mark is his name,
Mark passed and Bob
right?
is.
Mark showing up here, reminding you, do you
Yep.
know how easy that was, and reminding you, and with that starfish about, you just have to slowly just feel
Yep.
your way through it, right? And you have experienced love, and it's time, because now this is showing up in water, and you've got the snake there that is clutching. The snake is clutching onto a tree. So the snake is not a scary snake. The snake is probably just like, white knuckling, Right, beautiful. And the tree, the trees are signs of like history and age, with the rings and trees and experiences and growth, and but it's slow, but it's kind of saying not to not white knuckle so much, and just feel your way through it, because you've had these beautiful experiences before.
Right.
And that was just a beautiful way to show up and say, yes, you're worthy, you're the true king, you deserve this new love,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So pull that
And
sword
what's
down.
wild too is like that my little skull,
Right.
right, came up there too, and Mark has passed, so it's right in there with his stuff. But then it's just like pushes you around to just
Hmm.
keep reading everything, around. So it's making that whole movie
And
come to
exactly, if that
life.
fell tower and the hat and everything, if that had been down in the quadrant that was like earth, or something that was tangible, or something prone
Yep.
to right, exactly. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened to you before. I mean, both in your dream, but in in a past experience with one of your exes,
Yep.
where your whole security, and
Yep.
you're blindsided. It's like you couldn't see
Yep.
what was happening. You couldn't,
Yep.
it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You had no defense. That owl,
Yep.
there's no wingspan. It's not being able to see and swoop down on a predator. It was completely blindsided here.
Right.
And so that whole tower, and that's where that fear comes from, but that's in your mind, that's not in the area of manifestation.
Yeah.
And
For now, in this present moment, right?
that's right.
It's just like
Right.
past. It's past fears all up here, not reality. Not and I need to
And
let these
And in
things
the
go.
fire, it's the whole pulling the trigger, and allowing yourself to be happy there, and to keep yourself busy with the wedding preparations. That's key. That's key.
Yeah.
And
And my
just stay
button there.
focused.
So it's the
Yeah.
button and the key and
Yeah.
then the leaf too. I mean,
The new
leaves, turning a new leaf. I mean, leaves mean a lot of different things. Um, that key that says dream on it, you know.
Exactly. And then that's what triggers. That's sometimes too what triggers, and that's what the gun is too, is it triggers these fear responses because of what happened in the past, right? So whenever something's new, you're like, okay, like the Dorothy Parker, what fresh hell is this?
Yeah.
Right? What fresh
Yep.
Happy New Year. What fresh hell is this?
So true, so true. And this is the wolf that represents Bob.
It's beautiful. That's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
Beautiful
And
piece.
my little pewter fox that represents me. And that's right in that center too.
That's right. And that's a little spirit animal for you, for sure.
Landed
Right?
in the center. Yeah. And all I did, it's like he was sideways and I just stood him up in the center there. I don't know if I have a bigger picture of the centers. Yeah. Oh, see, no, I think he's lying down there, but I did end up standing him up.
No, that's amazing. And the snake is also synonymous with shedding. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And,
that's that's it was such, yeah, very nice.
yeah.
It's very Julia Child.
My sword in the stone.
I know. My
That means a lot for me.
my pieces are so small compared to yours. Like
I
pieces,
know. I have small ones. But
I can't I
go
can't
big
even
or
show
go
you.
home. Oh, I love it.
Right?
Oh,
No, but I was just saying. But
is there a screw in there?
I also have a chunky kit. I have a chunky kit that I use sort of as a teaching model
Yeah,
up there.
yeah. So I was like, too. I want
That's
something
beautiful.
to open the
See,
can.
that's why you want to be careful when you don't want to toss them too violently in there,
Right.
because you've got fragile pieces. You just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I would pick that if it was like um prevalent, like see these little teeny clock pieces. This is like
Oh
I will
gosh,
put these
so
little
amazing.
on these charms and that,
That
on the
piece is so
boxes.
great.
Yeah. A star within a star.
Now pay attention to what falls down on that clock piece because it could
Yeah,
be indicating a number, a time, a month, right? So that's an amazing piece, actually.
yeah. I got a little boot that's a army boot, but my daughter was 22 years in the service and
Good
just
for her.
retired. She still works for the VA, so this reminds me of her.
Was she air or
She
reserves
started
or
out in
Navy?
Army when it
Right.
was, remember shock and awe and all that, first Iranian war? That's when she joined, and she
Wow.
kept getting deployed in the Army. And so she switched. She got sick of being deployed, and so did I, because I would come home from work every
Oh,
day, and it was all over the news, and I'm like, I'm glued to the
no.
set, like, oh my God, is she okay? Is she okay? You know, what a horrible time. And then she switched to the Air Force, and then she spent the remainder, and she ended up serving 22 years in, and
Gina,
retired.
what's your daughter's name?
Jessica.
Jessica, thank you for your service, Jessica.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you for your service, sweetie. It's amazing.
yeah. And she's
Hey,
still doing it.
you, not
Eddie's.
you. I
So
little
now I have 3 hearts. I have um, my oh, what kind of stone is this? Oh, I have it on the top of my head.
carnelian. Is that carnelians or am I?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And now my heart that broke. So I have 2 pieces of this heart that's in there. So one has the little top
Mhm.
holder, and the other is the back.
Okay, here's some other ideas for those two pieces. So they could mean X's, right? They could mean X's, like if you're going to do a reading, but you've got the carnelian heart, and that looks like a reddish, and it carnelian is like strong will and passion and desire and stress. It could mean stress, and it could mean burnout, depending on what falls with it too, right? Carnelian's got that potential, but then now that the other heart, it feels cold, and one's got speckles on it, so that
Yeah,
could mean a changeable heart. So a changeable heart, that's possible, although that's kind of beautiful what's on it. But it could mean, if it is reversed, if it lands reversed, it could mean like somebody has a change of heart in something they're doing. And the other piece is uninterested, or a cold heart, or a detached heart. There's a lot you can play with that. Play with your hearts.
I will. I will. I will. I will. And of course my angel from my mom. But I mean, this could be a lot of things. Like, so 2 things. So I have angel wings, and I have the actual angel. So again, this angel wings could be your guardian angel, your spirit guardian coming to give you a hug. Just knowing
Healing,
there. Yeah,
recovery too,
all,
right?
all
Mhm,
all of that. So again, yeah, whatever, wherever, whose this reading is for,
mhm.
and and what context and what things are around it. I've got another Gettysburg thing with the cannons crossed.
Oh, oh,
What do you think when you see it?
oh, I just like
Love Gettysburg.
that piece from Gettysburg with cross cannons. So,
And I actually did get it in Gettysburg.
crossed, cross guns sometimes can be a sign of peace. So that could be cross cannons, could be a sign of peace because they're not firing, you know?
Right.
So that could be a cool piece for that, you know?
Cool.
That's a really cool piece. I'm sorry, Gina. Ooh, I'm
And of
trying
course
not to. Oh,
I have
that's your little
a
coffin.
coffin, and it's got the skull on the top, and it actually opens, and there's a little body inside.
All right. So
So
here,
this
let's
could
play with
land
that.
a number of ways.
Exactly. So now, just for shits and giggles, all right?
This is how
So
she
just close your eyes and pick one piece. Close your eyes and pick one piece.
Oh, I picked up.
Okay. That would work.
Ah!
That would. All right. So the bracelet, let me just start with the bracelet. Bracelets are a really, really good piece to have in your kit. Let me just show you for a second. This is a good opportunity while you're searching for crap on the floor, because that's all part of charm casting. I can't tell you how many hours I have spent actually on the floor with my charm kit. Never with her. All
Oh,
right. Let
heart.
me.
I dropped that heart and it's like it disappeared. That half a heart.
Now,
The unblingy half a heart is like disappeared. I don't know where it went.
all right. I'm trying to find my bracelet here. Bracelets are a really great tool to have in your charm casting kit
Found
because
it. Okay.
if you ever bring the bracelet out of your charm kit and it lands around a certain charm, it augments it. It gives it like, okay, you need to look at me. This is important, right? Usually the bracelet goes in the middle of the casting, but I also have another bracelet in my charm casting kit too. So I use one for the center because that I call the sears eye, or that's the core issues, what's core or critical to the reading. But I also will have another bracelet in my kit as well, and if it ever's pulled out with another piece, it's just
I
giving a
love that
little bit
sound.
of. But of course, I can't find it now. Sorry.
Oh,
I
but
can't.
yeah, but so since I picked that up then first, I
Yeah.
mean, 'cause I have like the majority of my charms are out of my box now and just in front of me on the table, and that's where
So
I.
now just pick one little charm with the
So,
coffin for a second.
well, I picked first before I dropped it was
Oh,
that broken heart, but
okay,
the
perfect.
unblingy one.
Okay, perfect. So now, let's say that the coffin fell, right? So first of all, what is your meaning, your assigned meaning for the coffin? Like what springs to mind about a coffin?
Past loved one, the past. It could be ancestors. It's just it's past. It's past people. You know.
Or could it be an ending too? Like an ending like the tarot, possibly like an
Yep.
ending, or
Yeah.
or or something buried, hidden, depression, like a bed rest, whatever, like,
All of that.
but a past, or a loved one, or a loss, or grieving, or mourning, or any of those things, right?
All of those things.
Maybe closed. Okay, so now when
Yep.
it's open it for a second. What changes when it's open?
It's visible of what's in there. You know. So like it could take away your, like when it's closed, it's like, well, who's in there? What is it? You know what I mean? When it's open, it's
You
there.
have no choice but to see something,
Yeah, you see
right?
it. Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's closed, if something's ended,
Yeah.
right? But right. So now if that landed on the bottom, right? That landed on the bottom, and now that heart landed on the top, what would you make of that combination?
Someone that I love is gone. And that's exactly true. What does she do for a living? She this divination and such. That's her book right there
I
that I'm talking about, charm casting. You can find out exactly what she does.
I
You can
love the
go
questions. Thank you. I didn't realize that was possible. Thank you.
Tina
Hi.
Hart. Yeah, I'll put up her website there, Tina Hardt CA, because she's in Canada. But this book is amazing, amazing, and she's amazing. It's got funny moments, but a lot of learning about these different things that we're talking about, these different charms, the meanings that we put on charms. It's definitely a new, and for me, new way to do readings, whether it's for a place, whether it's for if I'm going out and doing paranormal investigation, like we were talking yesterday for hours, and we were talking about, like when we go into different houses and things. And again, you don't get the truth. You don't get the truth. Spirits can lie, people can lie. But when you do a casting, or if you do a reading, or with cards, with whatever it is, you'll get a picture. You'll know the truth. And then you'll be like, and I've caught spirits in lies. I'm like, that's not right. And then they'll be like, well, how do you know? Because it's right here. And you have a conversation. But this is a new way to have a conversation. But like you said,
That's incredible.
what we're talking about is, hi from New Zealand, Melissa.
New
um
Zealand. Wow. Hi.
yeah, right here. So
Hi, Melissa.
this open coffin, like, okay, so if this was a reading for me and this was up here like this, it'd be like, yeah, then I would know that this is someone that I love that has passed, whether it's my mom, my dad, or Mark, or actually one of my an ex that I was engaged to, he passed away too, so it could be any number of things. Again, what was my question? What am I asking? What am I looking for in this reading? And
Hi.
kisses back, kisses back.
So see,
Yeah.
this is a little bracelet that I have in my kit. Right? Because I mean, I've got one in the middle, but these are great because sometimes they'll just hook on to your finger with another piece, and then when you drop them, like I said, they just if they circle a piece, it just gives them emphasis. It's what I call a look at me piece. So in other words, your eyes will go there because for some reason the charms want to say, okay, this is important. Don't miss this aspect of it. Give it a little extra,
Yeah, because I
a
know, like,
little extra.
the center of our board, that's like where we need all our attention, like, generally. But even though something over here, something in the fire, something in the water, something in the air, something in the earth, or however you set up your board, or if you have a board that tells you all these things. But yeah, it could have a different, another, besides this, another meaning over here, that this is very, very important too. So yeah, it
And
makes
then
perfect sense.
and then sometimes you'll get those standalone pieces that are just on the periphery, right? And then I always like to do you know what I mean? Those pieces have got a lot to say too, but they're almost like a and another thing, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? It's like an incidental detail, but it has
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Um there I did a casting. There was it was a missing persons case.
Ooh.
And I did a casting, and there was just one charm that was so chatty that fell outside the circle, and it was a stag. It was a stag, and just because of the other charms that it was speaking at, it was a an elderly gentleman, but it really set up and established. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry.
If you feel Travis around you, and if this is, you know what? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
you need to. Sorry.
Um,
Yes.
this this is very important. Okay, when you have that feeling that they are around you, like you're asking this question of us, could this be him? Okay, trust your gut. If your gut is telling you that this is him, then this is him. Okay, your gut is the direct line, a direct communication link to your guides, which could be him, his guides that could be helping him to be able to guide to you. You know what I mean? But it is a direct guide. So if that is what you're being told, then yell yeah, yes. And then you can ask, okay, when you go to bed, say, Travis, if that's you, all right, what's something that you can tell me that is just between me and you, all right, and tell me when I'm sleeping, because when you're sleeping, when you're like right at REM sleep, a lot of spirits come in at you at that time because you're not thinking of all the day-to-day stuff, like all day long your brain is on 900,000 things, whether you know it or not. It's like I gotta cook dinner, I gotta pick up the kids, my husband's coming home, or my kids are blah, 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 whatever, work, blah, all in your mind, clutter, clutter, clutter. Right? At sleep time, you're not cluttered. All right? You will get this message. When you wake up in the morning and you remember a dream, it's a message. If you don't, dreams you don't remember, messages you remember. Okay? So just ask him to give you a message and he will. All right? It may not be tonight. If he doesn't happen tonight, ask again tomorrow. Okay?
You know, and Melissa, honestly, consciousness does survive death. It really does. Consciousness really does. And
Oh yeah.
the one thing that they really don't want is they don't want us to suffer. They don't want to see you suffering. So, I think that's if you do feel them around, like, and the thing too about the in sleep, you're a much clearer channel, right, Gina?
Yeah,
You're a clearer channel for him to, in that dream state, to deliver a message. So I wish you the best with that. I'm so sorry to hear about your loss.
definitely. Yeah. Um, I have a unique story. I
Oh,
get to meet him for the first time face to face on the 18th. We were intimate, and an hour later, oh,
that's
I'm
hard.
so sorry. Oh, that's heartbreaking. That is very heartbreaking. Oh, God. And I've lost a lot. So I understand loss and grief and how we move on and what we need to move on in this world. And this is again is another reason why I do what I do. It is to help that and to help the soul, your soul and the spirit that's past soul. And if you really feel that he's with you, then God bless you. He really is. Okay. He really is. My Mark left me so many messages, and so did a lot of my other friends. But I mean, I see it, I do investigations. I see it everywhere. They'll communicate with me because they know I'm open to them, you know.
Do you know what was a way that Mark would
Oh,
communicate?
in very specific ways. Very, very, very like in life, he was larger than life, and if he wasn't the center of attention, there was a problem. If every girl wasn't looking at him in the room, there was a problem. That I look, he was very handsome. He was a very handsome man, right? And he would look at himself in shiny surfaces and make the face. And I'm like, you never make that face. Why are you making that face? You don't look like that, right? But he did. He attracted all these women all the time, and even some guys too. But he always had an entourage with him wherever he would go. He was never alone. So in the spirit realm, he still has an entourage with him. All right. So he's very noisy when he comes in because everyone else is noisy. All right. So I always knew it was him anyway. But he helped me do things. I have his story of mine is in 2 books up here. All right. There are 2 books, Signs of Spirits, Joni Mayhan books. When he passed, I wore his wedding ring on my thumb, and I was doing construction work, and I was finishing this basement. I did this whole basement over for this woman. I did the ceiling, the walls, I tiled the whole freaking basement, all this stuff. And all I had left to do was baseboards. And I wanted to get paid. I needed to get paid. So I wanted to get it done. So when I came home from work, covered with crap too, because my saw at the time broke, and and I was cutting tiles, and the thing would spit at me only on one side because I had a guide on one side and not on the other. So half of me was covered with all the dust and the caked on crap from the tiles, right? But I didn't care. I'm not showering yet. I'm in my workshop was downstairs in my basement, which was half of a garage that I turned into a workshop, and I had the door. So I had my van. It's snowing snow outside. I had my van outside. I had to open the door. So I had a bullet heater, and I had the bullet heater on because it was freezing, but I had to keep going outside to turn my boards to come back in to cut, and go back out and turn and cut and stuff. And then when it was done, I threw it in the van. So I would just, I had all my measurements. I knew exactly what I needed to do. So I'm going back and forth doing all this, sawdust everywhere. And I finally get done. I shut the van, all this stuff. And it's like I go upstairs, and I left the bullet heater on, and I'm so tired because I worked so hard, right? So I'm so tired. And I go upstairs, and I fell asleep in my chair. Now, the spirits in my house, because him and his entourage, they wanted to talk all the time. They would make noise. Okay. I would go downstairs and with my recorder and ask them, and they would tell me what their beef was or what was going on or all this kind of stuff. So they're making all this noise, and I'm like, not now. I don't care. All right. I'm tired. And then it got louder. It sounded like they were slamming and crashing pots and pans and all this stuff. And then I go downstairs like a little kid, and I'm like stomping down the stairs, and I open the door, and my room was just about to ignite in flames because of all the sawdust, and I left that bullet heater on. So they saved me from a fire. So that was story 1. Now I had to clear out all the sawdust out of the room, made a bloody mess outside, all this stuff, because I took a leaf blower and I'm blowing all the stuff outside. I left my door open for a while, let it air out. Then I shut the door, went up, finally took my shower, went to bed. Next day I go, I finish the job, I come home, and I am taking, like, I had tape and stuff from painting on tarps, and I'm putting everything away. And I had bins and bins and bins. I'm putting all these things in bins, all my tools away, and I'm ripping the tape up. And at the time, I had backed my van into a garbage can and I broke it. So I was using a bin on the floor for trash. So I'm throwing that stuff in the trash bin on the floor. And I get all done cleaning everything up. I go upstairs, I sat down in the chair, and I was just like, and I put my hand down, and I was like, oh my God, where's my ring? Which was his wedding ring on my thumb. I panicked. My heart, like almost, it came out of my chest. I was panicking. And I called my brother and I'm crying hysterically. He goes, go down and ask Mark where it is. Take your recorder downstairs. So I'm going downstairs and I'm like,
No,
where's the ring? And I'm like crying.
no.
And then all of a sudden he goes, it's in the bin. Right. I come up, I came upstairs, I put it on the computer,
That was an EVP.
Clear, it's in the bin.
That was an EVP.
It was EVP, class A EVP. I mean, it was just like bam, right? And I go back downstairs and I'm like, oh, good, it's in the bin. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I just put all my tools in all these bins and then these bins, and and I'm not even thinking. I looked in every bin that I put all my little things in, bits and whatnots, and not in there. And then I was like, and I just went like this, and I turned around and I looked on the ground, in the trash bin on the ground, right on top, on the tape, ring stuck to it. And I was like, oh man, thank you. So then the ring went into a box and into a locked cabinet, and it's been there since.
Melissa, there you go. And then also I think it's sometimes important to say too, though, Gina, right? Because sometimes they can't always make it. They can't always make it down for, do you know what I mean? They're not always available. They're not always available because
Right.
they're busy.
They're learning. Yeah.
They're learning.
So much on that side. Yes.
So not to take it personally, or not to take it as a, because that's the one thing psychic mediums can't do, is predict if someone will come through or not, or they can come through or not.
Right. Not that one. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. So now, all right, I've just started listening to music again. Deeply sad. To meet again. Travis was a lifeguard and saved many lives. That is beautiful.
That's such a great story, Gina. That is fabulous.
But that's why it's in a book. But both of those stories are in books, because they saved me from a fire. They saved me from dying.
So books that you've written, Gina?
No, that Joni Mayhan has written.
Joni, okay, right.
Yeah, she's an author. She's written so many paranormal books. Like Crazy Dead People will tell you a lot about the paranormal, how the paranormal works, the difference between ghosts and spirits, and like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lucid dreaming, all kinds of everything in the paranormal. But she's written a couple of fictions too that she's come up with that are paranormally based and just amazing. I introduced her to another friend of mine who was the Hanover Haunting, because she was looking for someone. Like the Hanover Haunting was on all those shows that you watch on TV. Okay.
Right.
So Deanna Simpson. So I introduced her to Joni because she was looking for someone to write her book. I said, well, Joni will get it done in a freaking day. I mean, she just whips out novels like they're nothing. And of course she did.
That's good for all of us to research, right? We're always looking for great books on that subject, right? So
yeah, and Joni is wonderful. You look up Joni Mayhan and all her titles. She's an amazing author, and she's even a more amazing person. She's just like a great friend, like we're going to be forever and ever.
A kindred.
Yes, very kindred. And yes, and you'll feel that. You will feel that presence, and especially when they first pass, like what you said, they can be very busy. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like Colette is looking for a sign from her husband. They're not going to be big, bold, beautiful signs like the ones I got. Okay. I got a whole bunch of other ones too, little ones. But I mean, I'm in the paranormal. I was in the paranormal I know how to look for these signs. My dad leaves me feathers here, and he even found a blue feather. I'm like, where did you find a blue feather? I don't have any
Yeah.
blue feather. I'm always like, okay, well, could this come from in my house? I don't have feathers. I don't have things with feathers. I'm not a feather boa person. If I have any feathers, they're going to be this big on my little foot. They're not going to be from here down my hallway and turn into this massive feather. Okay. But it's like, what are the signs? If you're not understanding or seeing the signs, but I mean, something can be here, and then the next morning it can be right there. I mean, it can be just
It can move it an inch, 2 inches.
and it's so hard for them to do that.
Mhm.
But it's you have to be aware. You have to be receptive to the signs that can come in.
I was in my shed, and I have a music box. It's like a little music box, and it wasn't wound up at all. It wasn't wound up. And usually, if I listen to music, do you know what I mean, that I was raised with, that I connect to my dad, I can, you know what I mean, and so you get into that headspace emotionally, and so I was tearing. I was tearing up, and I was thinking about him and listening to the music, and then suddenly I heard the music box just go click,
Oh,
like
yeah,
just
yeah.
like a ting, right? Not for him to actually have done that. That takes a lot, do you know? Because you can think of a music box wound up, and it's not like that music box had been wound up for a while, and then it was just like, oh my gosh, it just it's the most incredible thing. And it's not just that, I'm sure Gina would say the same. It's not just that we believe, it's that we know. We
Yeah,
know.
we know. We absolutely know.
Oh, right.
I've got so much proof of the afterlife, it's beyond, uh, thousands of EVPs. I've got I've got apparitions walking on a FLIR, video. I got it on here. You want to see it? I can show it to you.
Yes.
You'll see it.
Always.
You'll see him walking. What this is, let me get to my media. What this is actually, it's only 1 minute of an actual, the whole clip is 15 minutes long, but this is only 1 minute of the middle of it. All right. Because you can see the most part of it. Like, so the whole thing, you'll see like one walk, and then you have space with nothing, you know what I mean? And then one might walk and then walk back, you know what I mean? And then, but this is the one that had the most. So that's why I did this clip. Back in the day, you could only send between people like a minute clip. So I made it a minute.
Don't be afraid of that device. It's just so we can hear you talk.
So now see there, right in the middle there, that's one that's going. And there's another one. And there's one kind of creeping in the corner just a little bit, like, no.
Come in. Yeah. Come in. Hello. Hi.
My friend can't believe it.
Yes. What's your name?
So it's just standing there looking like they don't see me. They see me.
Could you move again? Hello. Keep coming. It's okay. We're not gonna hurt you. Right there. Look it. You got a second.
Excuse the language.
Don't be afraid of us. Come in. If that's you, come in.
And then at that point, it walked back into the thing. So what that was a sunken basketball court. Okay. Now that was a room in the center of the court, like where they were going and changing whatever. There was another room over here too that had lockers and a spiral staircase that went, to I didn't know where. And I had the recorder in my hand as I'm walking around. I said, where does the spiral staircase go? Or I said, why did they have a spiral staircase in here? And the EVP was, it's for rushing back and forth because the auditorium was upstairs, and then, so there were corridors along each side of this sunken basketball court and chain link fence. So that clip, right, the whole thing, there was 15 apparitions that were walking, right, that were like down below, and one up above that was holding onto the chain link fence, and you could actually see the grip on the fence. Now, this is a feeble-minded boys' school, so it was going like this, right? So you can just imagine you know, because
What location was that?
that was Belchertown State School in Massachusetts. It's not, they tore it down, and I'm like, ugh, there was so many spirits in that building. I can't even. I hope they're all okay. You
Right.
know, so I think that was their happy place in there. And then why they were not hesitant to come out, but you know that it's still an intelligent thing because they weren't coming out because we were there. And that noise in the background was a spirit box going, and there was 0 on the spirit box, but we could see them. So that's usually the way. You're either going to hear them or you're going to see them.
Well,
You
it looked
hear 'em
intelligent too
both.
because you were speaking to him and you could see the hesitation, right? You could see
Yep,
him come and then
yep,
do you know what I mean? Take a few
yep,
more steps. So
yep.
the question I would ask you is the height differential meaningful? Did that second one look like it could be a kid or do,
Yeah, I would say that one was, a taller, skinnier, older one, and then a smaller kid that was kind of like peeking around because it was
oh,
the doorway. They were in the doorway. They didn't actually come out the
oh,
door.
wow.
They were like back and forth in the doorway, and that little one was like right on that edge
Mhm.
of that door and just coming out just a little like peeking, or it could have been crouching and just like, scared because we were out there. And my friend who was with me was very intimidating. She's very gruff. Spirits will communicate with me more than her because I wasn't like yelling at them all the time like she was, or taunting or anything like that to them. So they would gravitate to me and show themselves more to me. When she came more near me is when they kind of stopped coming
Right.
out. You know what I mean? Because that's when I had that big gap in that whole thing. But that's when I started panning around. And that's when I saw that one up above.
Oh
So
gosh.
had she not done
Wow.
that, and they didn't, I wouldn't have known about that one. And the thing is with that one, I think that was Chris, this spirit that was following us around the building. And I think like when you go to a feeble-minded place and you have one of them that always seems like they take charge or they are given some kind of a role to play, like escorting people
Mm.
or pointing people around because this is their activities building. So that the big auditorium there was amazing. Okay, that's where we first ran into Chris, and I was like, "What's your name?" He said, Chris Cross," and he'd go. He said, "Bang bang." Okay, that was his EVPs, and then you'd hear tink tink, and he'd hit a pipe twice. So Chris Cross, bang bang, dink dink. You know,
Right.
so
Wow.
that's why I think it was him because he very very hyper.
Right, exactly. Different energy,
And,
right?
doing this,
Mm.
up on the fence. But I mean, it's so the field has always amazed me and drawn me in, and you get what you give, highly
That footage
spiritual.
is incredible.
Ah,
Mm.
I know, and you know what's really is horrible is on one of my dead computers is the whole clip, and I don't have it on anything else. So I haven't gotten rid of my dead computer because I got to put
Because it's
I
the
can
whole right,
pull the whole thing out.
right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I got lots of different kinds of things. When my husband first died, okay, this is this is a spirit that was groping my friend Sabrina. And then there's in Rolling Hills, they have a 7 or 8 foot giant that was there. That was Rolling Hills Asylum, where they would dump everybody, and this gigantism person was dumped there, Roy. So I got him coming down the hallway. But when my husband passed, he was face down on a table, sitting on a couch, but he was on a table. Okay.
Oh,
And I picked him up, and all the fluid had gone into his
right.
face. Okay. How he did this, I do not know. But this is exactly how his face looked. And this was on pillow cushions that were on the sofa where he was sitting, but his face wasn't there. But that's exactly what his face looked like when I took the thermal image. And the other one was just a face that was in my ceiling in my living room. That's something completely different. But that face my was him, right? But
So,
his face filled
you
with
know,
fluid.
what springs to mind automatically, and I'm just going to ask this. Do you think that was intentional? that recreation of that was something intentional and like
I
lower vibrational?
I think I'm not lower vibrational, but I think he really wanted to put the point home that I'm here. You know what I mean? And like
What you did, it was this actually Mark?
that, yeah, Mark.
Oh,
That
okay.
was that was in my house, my old house. He passed away in my house, and he was sitting on that couch, and he slumped over. He had a heart attack. He passed, and his head was on the coffee table.
Right.
And when I came down in the morning, because he'd be down there late hours and I was doing taxes upstairs late hours. And, I just went to bed and I woke up in the morning. His workers, because he owned a construction company, his workers would be coming in. They're banging on the door, banging on the door. And then they came around to the front of the house and, rang the doorbell. And I'm like, why are they
Sorry.
ringing the doorbell? Why are they not going down to get Marks? And then he was with me when I went into that room and he was a new kid too. And when I picked him up, I thought he was sleeping, at first. And I, as soon as I grabbed the back and the nape of his neck and pulled him up, I was like, oh God.
Oh,
And then my phone was right there and I just picked up the phone. I dialed the 911 and I just screamed.
I'm
I
sorry.
couldn't even say anything. I just screamed. And the police station was at the bottom of the hill from my house. They were there in like 2 seconds,
I guess I thought, sorry, I misunderstood because we're talking about those Fleur images. I don't know why I thought maybe something had tried to recreate that image, and bring back that. That's why
No,
I said was
right
that thing.
after he passed. I mean, he was taken out of the house. That was like days after
Right.
he passed because I kept hearing things down there. So I went down there with the flare and I said, "Are you here?" And I was like, and I was panning it
Right.
around, and then I saw that on the couch, and then I just took the pictures, and I was just like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And I knew it was him without a doubt. Okay. The other thing that he proved himself to me without a doubt was my friend that was actually the one speaking in that video of the apparitions walking. She wanted to go to see a psychic. All right. And then there's a really good one, Gary McKinstry up in Massachusetts. So we go. I'm going for her. He goes, I got to start with you. He goes, first of all, you've got two very bright angels. And he goes, I have to like kind of do this. He goes, but you have an entourage behind you. And I was like,
That's his.
it's not mine.
That's
right.
right.
I said the angels could be mine, but the entourage is definitely not. But when he passed, I had to do a lot of things. I had to close down his businesses, finish his jobs, do the whole funeral, all the arrangements, everything. We didn't have a plot. We didn't have anything. I had to do it all. All right. So I'm working my ass off. I'm doing all these things. And the psychic says, well, I have a tall blonde man here. He's barefoot and he's like separating his toes and he sits down and he's just like taking charge, and then everyone falls in behind him, which was like normal. Okay. I'm like, yeah. He goes, he's got a bone to pick with you. I said, he's got a bone to pick with me. Like, after I did all of this, right? All this stuff that I have worked and closed everything and got all this things successfully done, and trucks and vans and box vans and dump trucks and God, so much. Okay. How on earth could he have a bone to pick with me? And here it is. Okay. I am interior designer, decorator, artist. I muraled my whole house. I was going to design school. For design school, they want you to do a mock room, right, for your final project. Well, I did a real room. I built the freaking 20 by 20 edition, vaulted ceilings, and banks of 3 windows, doors, fireplace up through the ceiling, beautiful, right? Quarter round windows, all this stuff. We painted the walls beige, put just a border in there. He goes, just do me a favor and just leave that room plain for me. And I said, fine. Well, when he passed, I faux painted the whole thing. Okay. Freaking everything. I made it. I was a gaudy Italian then. I'm a gaudy Italian now. Okay. Friggin' faux painted the whole thing, ceiling, the floor, the whole thing. I took his deer head out of there. I put in pictures, all this stuff. Okay. So the psychic says, he says to me that you girlied up his living room. And it's like, yeah. Okay. All right. I'll give it to him. I did that, but he's no longer here. He left me, you know.
But you know
But
what an incredible sense of humor, do you know? And
yeah,
that's actually, if Melissa's still with us too, I'm
yeah,
telling you, that is actually something that does happen when there is somebody, do you know what I mean, that we've lost and they have that those personality traits. They come through, psychic mediums when they merge, right? They merge with them. Those characteristics, those traits, and that beautiful sense of humor. Do you
yeah,
know he's got a bone to pick with you? Is that you girlied up his man room? That is evidential.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's beautiful.
It's total validation. It's all of it, and that's the thing. The spirits, they were people. They
Mm,
still, I mean, God, it's such a intricate thing. A ghost would be someone that died, hasn't crossed over yet. Okay, can still experience all the emotions and be afraid to come and talk to you, or or if they did something that
mm.
they feel you're not going to be forgiven, so they might be afraid to come talk to you. All right, but a spirit is someone that died,
Transitioned.
over, yes,
Mm.
transition, however you want to say it. Now they know everything. They're
They're
able to.
different.
They're protectors. They can be your guide. They can be your guardian. They can be all those things. So Colette, you're always looking for a sign from your husband. Well, he's probably still in the learning phase, you know, or maybe he feels bad because he left you, and maybe or if he hasn't transitioned over there yet.
Or maybe they try sometimes, and you know what I mean. Sometimes in order for them to get through too, remember we've got to be calm and clear channels, and we've got to be present to actually pick up on those nuances. And if we're at a lower vibration, if we're hovering at a lower vibration, chances are, do you know what I mean? Chances
Yes,
are we're not going to pick it up and be present for it, right? So it's when
exactly.
we're relaxed,
Yes,
when we're
yes.
calm,
Yep,
do you know,
yep.
that those are probably the moments. And that whole phenomenon, that's just what I think, Gina, maybe. But the phenomenon, people always say, well, cardinal comes every day and that's mom, or or a blue jay or a hummingbird, or sometimes I think that what happens is that spirit tells us, look here, look
Hmm.
look
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right? And then we catch
Butterflies,
it,
this,
and we're
that.
listening, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So we're
You know,
listening. Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it just could seem like a normal everyday thing, but it's that spirit coming, all the time. If you're not seeing it, again, I'm going to say it, Colette, ask your husband at night,
Mm.
please, leave me a sign tonight that I will remember in the morning when I wake up. And right when you wake up, write down your first thought. Always, 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 always have a book right next to your bed. I have this book in here right now because I make my notes and my things in here. My book is in here right now because I'm going to assign all my charms, meanings, and I'm going to write it all down in here. And that's why I moved my book in here. But ordinarily, that is by my bed so that I can write these messages down that I get from spirits at night, whether I have to deliver this message for someone else or it's a message for me, you know. But Melissa with Travis, and he had a great sense of humor. Well, watch for the things. Watch for the funny things. You know, it doesn't have to be all sad and gloom and doom when they pass. All right, that doesn't make them happy. It doesn't make you happy. It
No.
doesn't make you healing. We are still living. Yeah, I'm not saying don't grieve, and everyone grieves in different ways. But God forbid. I'm just saying you gotta, if you want the signs, and look for the signs. And if that's what it was, that he had a great sense of humor, then go with it. Find those things that made you laugh.
He
You know?
still has a great sense of humor. That's still his essence. And sometimes too, it's funny when they do come through. If they do come through, they come through in a younger and healthier version of themselves. So it's like not necessarily how you remember them when they crossed, like if they've had an illness or something, and that's not, or they had mobility issues, or sometimes they'll come through just to show you that, hey, I'm okay, and I'm I'm not feeling this any longer. So please don't hang on to that. Don't hang on to that and feel bad, because that's not the case. Right. And of course they don't, you know, they're, it's still non-form consciousness. Right. So it's not like, it's like we're cloaking them. Right. It's not there, but they do, they come through, in such a beautiful way, and they vibrate so at such a high level.
I know. And this is why we meditate. This is why when we work in this field, and especially, Tina, you know, you've been in it for a very long time. When you meditate and you are putting yourself kind of in a vulnerable place, but you know, we are raising our vibrations so that we can pick up on all these things and be able to do these divinations and these different things. I think that's probably why I picked up on this so quickly. You know, I mean, practice. You even write it in your book. Practice makes perfect. You know, and I'm doing all the things.
I don't think I was the first person to say that, but just
no, but you it's a reminder. It's true. You know, like even with meditation, practice is perfect. You know, start with guided meditations, and then you can be able to do a meditation on your own. You know, because otherwise my mind doesn't shut off like ever. So I need guided meditations. I need, you know, loud music when I'm meditating. I need, you know, I couldn't just sit in a silent room and meditate because my brain, which I call the filing cabinet with all the open drawers, will be going, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to go here, you know. So it's like, shut up, you know.
All right, so everybody in the chat, just for fun, let's just guess what Gina's astrological sign is.
Well,
come on, everyone. What's Gina's astrological sign?
Melissa just left because she said it was 2:49 in the morning.
Oh, well, that was nice of her to actually spend that time with us at 2:49 in the morning. That'd be way past my bedtime.
All right, I know, my goodness, but she is going to write down what she gets and let me know, and I'll let you know, for messages, you know. But
I'm like you too. I don't shut down. I'm on constantly. There's a hamster wheel, so I completely.
If you're the same sign as me,
I know that would be crazy.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to say it.
I'll go for. I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay. I'm actually Gemini. What's your rising?
I don't have a clue.
Yeah. So I'm a double.
I'm January 9th of 63.
Right.
63 now. Right. So
we're the same age. We're the same age. But you know, it's not. I mean, obviously, sun signs. I mean, my respect goes to astrologers who actually know what they're talking about. Oh, Leo, yay! I have a lot of respect for you know, career and professional astrologers. You know, that is one thing that I would never be able to.
I can't do it.
No, but it's not just about your sun sign. There's so much more.
Oh, of course it is. And we're in the age of Aquarius now. So, you know, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Right. But I've never gotten into, you know, astrology and stuff other than reading the little thing that used to be in the paper all the time.
The fortune cookie. Right.
And whatever, you know, it's like I would read those things. But you know, I've had plenty of astrologers, numerologists. I have all the respect in the world for both of those
people. Fall down a manhole today.
Right. Yeah, thank you. But I can't do that kind of stuff. No, this I can do. This is up my alley, 100%.
Oh, you're
and
just
and the cards. I love cards. I started tarot cards and then I found oracle cards, and I love oracle cards. Although I've just had a couple really, really cool tarot cards cross my path here that you would love too.
I want to see.
They're a red wheeler too. Just had her on.
Weiser's got. I mean, I'm just going to give a shout out to Weiser. They're a stable of artists and authors. I mean, blow me away. This year they've had a bumper crop, an absolute bumper crop.
Oh, they're over here. Hold on.
Okay, I'm holding on. I love your room.
Oh, thank you. Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. It's a household stuff. Like, you got to remember where to put them. So it's this deck.
Oh, the tarot emblem. Oh, yeah.
This one,
Right.
crazy. But the artwork in here reminds me of me and my gaudy Italian. You know,
Yeah, that's an amazing deck.
the tarot with an extra 5 oracle cards.
Yes.
Yeah, extra oracle cards, which I love. You know, but the artwork in these are amazing.
Show me the black and white one again.
Show
me the black and white one.
Chimera deck. It's an artist from the friggin' 1500s.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They are.
Oh my gosh. Is that a tarot or an oracle? Sorry.
There's oracle in here and tarot. There's five oracle cards and the rest are tarot. And like this is Ace of Wands.
Wow.
Right. But this artist,
that's beautiful, actually.
Oh, they're phenomenal. They are phenomenal. Redden. Odeon Redden is the artist, right? And the book is fabulous too.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
And even the box and everything.
And it's a color book, right?
The
full color.
Yes, and it's just so nicely done. It's so nicely done. Well, they're black and white, but the pictures are like shiny and like shinier than the pages. It's just so well done. It's just so well done. I just love it. I love
Weiser's design department, they're phenomenal. They're so talented.
She did all those.
I'm gonna look that up.
Excuse me. But
they're tight.
Tisha Rowland, so that she does this. But like I pulled these out. These is just some like
what's that on your
life and clarifying life situations. I love these for when we do like general readings for people, usually asking about their life, love, and career. So I have like these for that. I have so many decks. I
love show and tell.
60 decks, and if you
automatically that deck with the coffee cup on it, that
I love it.
That pulled me in. That's like so soothing.
Yeah, I love it.
Do all the images and the cards look like that?
No, they're amazing. They're amazing. All right.
Do some show and tell. Pull some cards.
All right. So I'll pull a card for you.
Pull some cards. Come on, Gina.
We are getting away from charm casting here, But when I have your deck in my head,
well, then we're going to talk paranormal with that.
Then
you again.
And then we will pull some cards together. And what's funny is when I do that, like cards, and I'll have like 3 people here, and we'll each pull a card. We'll have people in the chat room ask questions.
I'd love that.
You would do that?
Oh, absolutely. So
okay, good.
Hang on, I just want to show you someone. Hang on. If I can get him. He's a little. Come on, you little munchkin. Come on, you little.
I'm gonna think of a question for this card.
He's being very sorry. I want him to say hello. He's being very.
Hi, baby. Oh, we're so pet friendly here. I told you this is like old home week. So did you think of a question?
Oh, my question. Oh gosh. All right, my question. How will I do on the podcast that I'm doing tonight?
Vortex of change.
What is that?
Oh, Lord in heaven. Yes, because we went down the rabbit hole. Okay. So here it is. There's our rabbit hole. So this is the way it is, because this deck has reverse, forward. So, and let me what it says on
So
the
is
front.
that supposed to be the Wheel of Fortune there?
Oh, this is regular oracle.
Or
So
the regular, okay.
yeah. So this is engage with the vortex of change, where energies swirl and transformative dances, molding anew.
That's
So
good. That's
that's perfect.
great.
That's perfect. That's exactly what happened with this show tonight.
Great.
Because we started talking just about, your cards and um the charms and everything, and we ended up everywhere else.
That's all good energy. It means we're opening up little channels, I think. That feels
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. But I'd love doing card shows, and I would love to do a card show with you too.
So would I, right? I would love to do that. We could do that for sure.
So I can, like, sometimes people cancel on me,
Right?
and
Just
then I'll do, a pop-up card show here and there. I'll be like, hey, what are you doing at this time and this day?
okay, that'd be perfect.
Awesome. Awesome. And you can use your cards, and I usually put out whatever comes to me for that day. I'll usually have those career and life ones, because a lot of people will ask about that. But,
You're
some
like me too. You
box
have a lot of
cards.
tools, right? And then you just
Yes.
get drawn to, okay, well, I feel
Yeah.
this deck or I feel that deck or
Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah.
if you're going out to do like readings and stuff, do you bring crystals with you? Like I'll pick different crystals, like my hands will start tingling over certain crystals,
Oh,
and I'll pick them, to put in my pockets to take on investigations or whatever. And then I have, like, of course, my selenite wand if I'm getting, like, sometimes negative energy, whether it's you
yeah.
being a guest, you know what I mean? Sometimes that happens, you know?
I was going to say that that would be really something interesting to discuss too, would be just the use of when you go into a home to do a clearing, how some of those, do you guys do pre-interviews with people before right, you do the pre-interview, right? So to actually do that divination or to do a reading, right, to understand what's happening even psychologically to the people experiencing whatever they're, right, whether there's a connection or not, or maybe what's making them more vulnerable, or understanding, how light could potentially be attracting, like, if it is that, right? Because like we talked about, right, you also know it could be a piece of furniture they brought in, or something that's not related to their
Like,
their experience of life at that time, right? But
yeah,
still, that would be
property, land,
yeah.
tidbits. Again, you got to be careful. Some of these little trinkets that you bring in can be bringing in something else.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I've got lots of stories. After when we get
I've
done,
only
I'll
had
tell you
one.
another one.
I've had one that I didn't like. I've only in my entire kit, there was one that came in the mail. And I'm going to tell you something from the minute even the envelope that came, I didn't like how it felt in the envelope.
Wow.
And it was interesting because I'm going to tell you what the charm was. I used to treat myself at Christmas or whatever. I'd buy myself some eBay charms that were like sort of vintage Cracker Jack charms, like
Okay.
the metal ones.
Yep.
This one was a metal devil. And it used to be red, but the paint was sort of knocked off. But the minute that I got it and I felt the envelope, I'm like, oh, I do not like this piece, right? And it wasn't just because it was do you know what I mean? A devil or whatever. It's where it came from. It could be something from the environment, the house that it came from. But I had to clear that one, do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
The best that I could anyway, right? But now,
Yeah. And some of you can't. Some of you
right,
can't. Some of you just got to bind and get rid of. You know what I mean? So yeah,
for
I know.
sure, for sure.
But
But if it shows up,
this chair,
yes,
I went
yeah.
into I bought that from an antique place, and I wanted that chair. I came in, I saw it, I was looking for a chair, I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for a chair for here, although it became uncomfortable, and that's why it's over there in the corner now. But and I couldn't do this with it. So
Right. You're like me too. You
I,
can't
uh,
even
I,
lay in
I couldn't do this, so I wasn't comfortable with it. It looks cool, so I put it in the corner. I'll sit there and read or whatever. But anyway, but when I saw it, right when I walked in the door, I was like, "Oh, I want that." Next to it was like this mink stole on a little mannequin,
Oh.
those
Oh.
forms, body forms. And it's
Mhm.
like I walked in there and I went, ooh, and I just had to back away. I mean, the energy off of that thing was just like a freaking force field that you walked into. Like you could feel cool
Oh.
air to fucking frozen sludge. Like
Oh. Horrible.
I was like, oh my God bless anybody who buys that thing, you know?
Yeah. No
So I
kidding.
told Bob, I'm like, Bob, go get that chair. So I didn't
Oh,
even
so yeah, you're right. You go pull
in
it
it.
out. You go pull it out of the wreckage.
Yeah, I can't go in there because whatever that was, I didn't want it attaching to me, you know? And Bob's oblivious, so I don't think it would, you know what I mean? And he can be very grumpy bear, you know what I mean? So things would be like, nope, I'm not gonna take him, you know, but me, they would attach to and want to come home, you
Do you
know?
think is Bob like a bit of a grounder for you? Is he like he's got that grounding energy grounder?
Yeah, but he's a runner.
It's funny. Do you know there was one item? So there was one item in an antique store that I walked up to, and it was like a roll top desk. It was a metal roll top desk, and it was from Ohio.
Oh,
And it was vintage and it was like really expensive. And I looked at it and I walked away, and then I kept pulling me back and pulling me back. So finally we bought it and I took it home. And my aunt used to live across the road, right? So I put it upstairs, and then I would come into the house, and then a couple of times I couldn't even go up the stairs. Like I couldn't go up the stairs. It was terrible. I was like, no, I don't want to go there. So
wow.
then I had two different people come in that didn't even know, right? One of them, a close friend, right, came, he's psychic medium, came up, and it's like, you've got to get rid of this. You've absolutely got to get rid of this. And the other one said the same thing. It's like, this
Yeah,
is,
I'm getting like a
I
friggin'
got
pain in
to
my
get rid of
head
it.
about that, even talking
Right.
about it.
But it's calling me. Right. So, like, I didn't realize it's calling me, right? Constantly. I could not let it, it's like that one's a sucker. I'm coming home with her. Do you know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah,
how that, I don't know what happened.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it was awful.
yep. I had
And
a bad spirit come to my house, and it like I was a designer, so my kitchen in my old house. You saw the kitchen in this house, not great. The kitchen in my other house, spectacular, right?
I like the
And
kitchen here.
oh, but you would have loved my other one. But it was my show place. You know what I mean? So it
Right.
was a design thing. It was actually on HGTV for 2 minutes 2 seconds in an ad. You know, but it was that beautiful. And at the time, it was just me and my little teeny dog Lacey,
Oh,
little teeny dog Lacey, right? And I came home from work and everything's locked up, and I'm going out to clean my pool, and I come back in the house and I look over. I had two stoves. I had a cooktop gas cooktop on my island that I always cooked on, and a glass cooktop stove that I didn't use because I was anal and I wanted to keep it nice and pretty.
that's
And
right.
above it was the microwave. Well, I thought my stove was shattered, so it was like covered with little bits of glass. And I was like, what the fuck? And
What?
there's Lacey with her little eyes are bugging out of her head, standing in the middle of the kitchen floor. But it was actually something smashed the microwave above it, and all the glass came
What?
down onto the stove. I know. But I did the bad thing as I went traveling, endless traveling, talking about like Ohio, West Virginia, and stuff like that. West Virginia, I went to Staten Island first from Massachusetts to Staten Island, New York, to pick up a buddy who drove out to West Virginia. We investigated Trans-Allegheny all night, ended up taking a little girl home with me. We went from there, we went all the way over to uh, another place. What the heck's the name of it? I can't even think of the name of it. But we investigated another building. Like in the meantime, I'm only sleeping like a couple hours, 1 hour.
Oh,
I mean, so I'm totally exhausted
yeah.
in these extremely haunted places. Okay, really.
Yeah. You
Places.
got cracks in your armor.
Yeah, and the weirdest thing happened at Trans-Allegheny too. Like I got heat footprints walking across the floor with the flare. I've never seen that before. And at the time, there was a man who worked there, who's a friend of mine now, Adam Bonnet, who worked at Trans-Allegheny, and it burnt the back of his neck, a big burn as it went by him, right? So like really freaky things were
Yeah.
happening. have that on video here too. Actually, I can show you that. Also, you can show you that later. We are like past our time here, and then we're gonna keep going as long as you're good. All right.
Yeah.
But so we investigate there, and then I had to bring him all the way back to Staten Island, drop him off, and on my way home, I was going through Lennoxtown, all this kind of stuff, and then there's the Houghton Mansion out there. So I figured I'd stop there. It's another very haunted place, and the cemetery is down the street from it. So I went to the cemetery. Like, I'm delirious at this point because I'm like so overtired that I'm delirious. And then if you cross from the cemetery of the Houghton Mansion people that are in the AC Moore and all, those people that are down there, or whatever his name is, and you go across the street over the hill, there's the Hoosac Tunnel, which is extremely haunted. So I did a thing that I tell everybody in the world not to do. I went to the tunnel. I'm by myself. I went in the tunnel. I got my recorder and everything. I don't even know if I ever really listened to it, honestly, But I took a brick and a spike home.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So that's what broke my microwave. And then it blew up my television. And then
no. No.
And then it wrecked my printer twice. Like,
what did you do with that? What did you do with it?
I had to, I asked on the recorder, I said, "Oh, you're so big and brave and you're breaking all these things when I'm not in the room." And I'm like, "Well, I said something really stupid. Like, what do I got to do for you to show yourself to me?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm angry because I have to replace all these things, and these things weren't cheap. I was a designer. So like my microwave was, like $1,000 microwave, and you smashed it. And then I had to do my printer twice, and my television, brand new television that, blew up and ruined my computer and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, you're attacking all my electronics, all my, big money things. So I asked in the recorder, you know what that freaking bastard said? He said, "Sacrifice your dog." And it's loud and clear. I'm not playing it for my friends. And I actually called up Joni Mayan, the author that I was talking about. And I said, "I'm going to need everybody to get over here and help me cleanse this house. I need everybody that's powerful that I know."
That's right.
Because this thing is evil and it has to go.
No.
Something that I couldn't do by myself, So so I had, people come over, we cleansed the whole house, and then it was good. And of course I got rid of the brick and the spike.
How did you get rid of the brick and the spike?
I took it back there. Yeah. And that was a 2.5 hour trek.
Yeah, correct.
Down the street, but
were you nervous in the car?
I was. But I mean, I knew that I had cleansed the house, I knew that it came in with that, but I think it detached from it, but I'm still returning that.
Yeah.
Just for in any kind of rebound, anything, but I'm like, no, you're going back to where you came from, and you should never have come home with me, and you would never have come home with me if I wasn't so tired and that delirious. So when people are always saying, "Oh, I'm going here and here and here and here," I'm like, slow down.
Yeah, that's right. Did that stop it after?
Yes.
That stopped it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, that was the scariest of all the things that I've gone through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's terrifying.
And it's not like it was a demon. It wasn't a demon. It was just a very angry, low, disgusting spirit.
Malicious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh God. It's funny how even stories like that, like, just make I feel nauseous,
Yes.
like nauseating, right? Oh my God.
I felt so bad for my poor dog that was there while I was at work. Nothing's in there with my dog, and it's telling me to sacrifice my dog.
No, I'd be terrified. That's.
Yeah. Oh, I got angry. I wasn't terrified. I was angry.
Yeah.
That's like telling me to kill my child.
No, exactly. No, of course.
And it's like, oh, hell no. Oh, you're done now, dude. I'm not even giving you a chance. Just like when I went to cleanse that house with a 10-year-old, 10-year-old is being attached. I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to finish this investigation.
Yeah.
This house is getting cleansed, and I threw everything I had and everything in my arsenal at this, because you're not going to attack a 10-year-old on my.
At least, what was great about that, at least, Gina, is that you had them all on speed dial.
I know.
It's like, who are you going to call?
Yeah. Exactly. I'm like, get over here. I need you now. I'm like,
That's right.
sacrifice my dog.
It's
Oh my God. I was just like
it's
so livid. I was so livid, you
yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah, that's actually really good that you took it back.
Yeah.
Because sometimes those pieces you can't just like, you
You just
can't
throw
just
out. No, because
yeah.
someone else is going to pick it up or that energy is still there. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right. It doesn't the energy doesn't leave with
Yeah.
it, right?
I
You have
mean,
to do the
I mean,
right thing.
sometimes if you take it to a place like that, what did you do with that desk?
It got given away to somebody who did not believe in this at all.
Yeah.
He's like a complete non-believer. And he had an antique he was going to start an antique store. So I gave him actually a couple of pieces. I gave him a couple of pieces, right? That he just took away. But I don't even know that that was 100% effective because there were still some things that were happening there, you
Mm,
know.
mm.
But by the same token, I was hoping, he didn't. Maybe I should have taken it back to the antique store. I don't know. Maybe I should have, but that doesn't end
No,
there.
because right,
So
because then
yeah,
someone else brings it home, and that could be someone very vulnerable. At least with someone that doesn't believe, like sometimes, like the skeptics, those hardened
yeah,
skeptics, if you bring them in, the spirits don't even want to communicate with you.
yeah. They can't because they can't. Do you know what I mean? This
It's
guy.
the energy takes up everything. So sometimes that's the person, but still, like sometimes you just gotta take, and bind the item and the thing however you can, whatever you're encasing it in, and wrapping it and with the prayers and the wax and the
The
salt,
binding spell on you.
sealings, and yeah, and sealing the whole thing, burying it, salt and the brick dust and everything else that you can throw at it.
You know,
All the oils.
you know.
Bury it really deep somewhere where you know that they're not going to be digging up.
Whatever this thing was, it was a roll top desk, and that's what they used to do payroll. Right?
Hmm.
They used to do payroll with, but it was just something where it had come from. Something,
Ohio and West Virginia are very, very, very haunted places. So much happened there between Indians and between slavery, between all, selling the
right?
slaves, all the things right downtown in the middle of the square. They still have the squares that they had the slaves on, the chains, the stuff still there.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It could have been an accounting desk for that. I mean, it's
right.
just
Yeah,
those
just
those
horrible.
places, the fort that was there. There's like so many things historically that has happened there. And then you've got the Civil War where the line was right there. So it's Confederate, it's Union, it's brother and family, and what side of the line are you on fighting against each other. So it's like it's a crazy, crazy place. Way full of energy. Like if something I knew was coming from Ohio, I'd say hell no from the get
I'd
go.
say, I'd say hell no, hell no.
Hell no, not happening. you know, but
Well, we learn, right? We scrape
yeah,
our
I know,
knees
I
and
know.
we
Well,
learn
when
the
I
hard
fall over
way.
something, I'd be bringing it home. Like, but it's so cool. Look at it. You know, uh,
Oh.
well, we live, we learn. So much. So, but still, things can happen even when you're aware and you know things, and
I
you're
don't know how this one got by me, quite frankly. Do you know? But it was like Tina,
oh, good.
you know.
Look at me. I'm bright and shiny and beautiful. Yeah,
That's
take me
right.
home. Take me home. I'm going to fit
That's
perfectly
right.
right where you want me to be.
You don't smell the fire now, but you will. you know. You're right now. You're
Exactly.
just like I'm like like bubbles going. Oh, look at that piece. Look at that piece. Look at that piece. Right. Oh
Yeah.
boy. Yeah. Yeah. That's it was awful. Like that feeling, where you just like you can't go up the stairs or enter a room.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
it's like
whole
everything is like, "Oof,"
oh,
yeah,
oof,
like that squelch is turned
yeah.
up. The everything is just like you feel like you're walking into sludge. Yeah,
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 and it was
that
up
dread.
above, like sort of towering, just like up above, right? With its awful evil energy is awful, awful. Anyway,
I'm sorry you went through that, but you
no,
know what? We
well,
are okay.
we know we lo-
Yeah, it's almost 10:30.
yeah, we got to go to bed.
We have to go to bed. Yes, we do. Honest to God. But I could talk to you forever, forever.
Oh,
So I'm definitely going to be calling you about doing reading shows, about doing some card shows, especially
that would
after
be great.
deck. And everybody, please, 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 you are going to love doing this. All right. She teaches you everything you need to know. Like I was doing all of this. Like I got
Yeah.
all ready before I was even done the book. Okay. I'm like, oh, I love this. But I had charms, but you have stuff in your junk drawers everywhere. There are charts. There are everything. There's a little stage here that she put in here. I marked it. So pages at this. Yeah.
That's to let your charms audition for you. Tell you what they tell them what role
Exactly.
they're playing.
Why we have the stage background here. So yes, let your charms introduce themselves and who they're going to work with, and put them, find something that you can put on there, and everything. She teaches you everything in this book, and it's hilarious too. She's got some really funny moments in here, laugh out loud moments.
Tina, for sure, when we do those readings, you'll pick a couple of charms for people too. You're going to be an act.
Absolutely.
That'll be great.
Absolutely. It's going to be a part of it. It's going to be super cool. It's going to be so different and so awesome. I just can't wait.
And I bet you, with the next time we get together, I bet you that cigar box, you're going to go, oh, I had to go to a larger box.
A larger
Wait,
box.
I'm predicting that.
I
What,
have-
am I psychic?
I have the big cases. I have the cases that have my equipment in, the suitcases that are all padded. I'm going to boot out the equipment, and
It's great.
full of charms.
That's right. All the paranormal equipment's going to be on the lawn.
Yeah.
It's right. You have 2,000 pieces, and you're going to make that call to Lloyds of London to insure them.
I know, right? But we'll be comparing who's got how many.
It's hilarious.
Oh,
all right, Gina. Well,
I'm gonna play my exit video, and hang just one more minute until we say goodbye to everybody. Where the heck are my videos? Here's my videos. Okay. All right. So ciao for now. I'll see you all next week. Who it is, I don't know, but it won't be as fun as tonight.
Oh, sure it will. Oh. Wherever you go, fun follows. You're a fun magnet.
Oh, I don't know about that. Depends who you talk to. No, it depends who it is. We're kindred. We're kindred. Love you forever. You're a Fox-Den family member for life, whether you choose to believe it or not. It is true. All right. So ciao for now, everybody. Love you. Thank you for tuning in. Get the book. Get the book.
Thanks, Gina. Love you. Bye, Mama D.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Fox-Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests or our own intuitive oracle card reading shows. We are streaming live on Facebook on my personal page and our YouTube channel, the Fox-Den with Gina B and Mama D, on Mama D's YouTube channel, Angel Meadows, as well as our audio-only venues. We hope you enjoyed our show and our guest or your reading, and we would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox-Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, share, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.